Right, okay, folks, welcome to another nice and nasty. It's been a while, haven't you grown? Yeah, I don't know what episode it is. I don't know. I've no idea what episode this is. But anyway, listen, I'm delighted to have a wonderful guest. Now, I got to know of this young gentleman through Discord. He watches my channel, so it's always nice to have people on. Now, you need to apologize. Sorry, I need to apologize now about how I pronounce your avatar name. Ping, Ping Ho, was it? Ping Ho?
Well, close enough.
How do you pronounce it?
I would say Pinge Yu.
Pingy you. Right. Okay. What
Yeah,
is
that
what is?
would be Pinge would be the one. Yu is
Yeah.
basically just the city I live in.
Oh, that's a city where you live in, is it really?
Yeah.
I thought it was. There used to be a thing on in the UK called Pingu, which is one of
Yeah.
these stop animation things. I thought you were named after that, but given
Newt.
that your
Newt.
avatar is not a penguin, I thought I've obviously got that wrong. So, listen, great to have you on. Thank you very much for agreeing to come on.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks for having me.
yeah, just as I always like to, just kind of. In fact, I've got to say you're Swedish. Now, when you and I first started chatting a few minutes ago, I thought there's a real Irish twang going on there. It's an interesting accent you've got.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe some people say that, but
Yeah,
I don't know. It's definitely going to be a giveaway, so
aye.
don't worry about it.
You know that the interesting thing is, I mean, nowadays because we now the world has become a smaller place. I mean, obviously, 20 years ago, I think accents were more pronounced because when I was growing up in the 80s, the only people that I really got to interact with would be people who lived in Scotland. You'd maybe get an occasional English person or someone outside the UK, but now, like we're doing here tonight, we're sitting, you're chatting to a guy from Scotland and I'm chatting to somebody from Sweden. But because of the internet, YouTube, social media, we've all got this kind of ability to speak to other people. And like my daughter, I mean, she's obviously Scottish, but I wouldn't even know what her accent is. I'm not going to say it's American, but because she watches 99% American YouTube stuff, then it's an interesting, do you call it? Oh, I've
Development.
completely forgotten the word. And then yeah, dialect. Yeah, it's yeah. So anyway, listen, I'm going to kick things off. I'm just going to ask you just to tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously where you stay, etc. And what was your very, very, very first? When did you first become aware of video games? When would that be?
Oh yeah, I've been trying to think of it over the last couple of days here to see where I started. But obviously, yeah, I'm from Sweden. I'm as yourself, middle-aged man, just absolutely loving video games. But that's not always been the case. Because when I grew up, there wasn't that many video games around our house. Started first, I know that I played was my dad had a couple of Game and Watches, these tiny little
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
handheld ones from Nintendo,
Hmm.
and I remember that was sometimes maybe it was for special occasions where we actually got to play them because he had them like in the up in his closet top shelf. I don't think he played them much either, and I don't really know why he had them, to be honest. But that would be the first games we played, and then he had an old a Pong clone. It was called a Video Star. That's just basically a home Pong machine that my grandmother got in the late 70s when she bought a new TV set. That was included, so my father took that one, and that must have
Brilliant.
been 85 ish, I
That
guess.
was that's quite late then, isn't it? You had a Pong machine in '85, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's when I found it at home.
Hmm.
It's been and then the real first time I was really blown away and actually remember seeing a video game. That was we were visiting my cousins in must have been Christmas in '86, and they had got an NES for Christmas. And I was 6 years old then, and they were playing Ice Climber, and I was just blown away. And then about half a year later, my dad picked up a second-hand one. So obviously someone bought an NES in '86 and was already sick of it, spring of '87. And
Yeah.
that's when we got it. And that was basically what I played. Because I was not that old in the '80s, so I was not hanging around in the arcades. But I do remember seeing the arcade games at camping sites and in pool halls and stuff. It was a strict 16-year age restriction here to play the games.
Really?
So so I never really played them, but I saw them, and I do remember a few titles from back then. But from the NES, then we had a lot of games for the NES, more than most kids. Even though shouldn't say we were poor, but we were not very well off. But just for the Nintendo, I think we had about 30 games in the end. But we never got the Super Nintendo. And then I eventually got an Amiga, but that was around the time when my friends got PCs. So I must have been in '94, perhaps '95.
Yeah.
Which is kind of late as well.
That's
But I've
kind of
been
getting towards the end of the Amiga life. Yeah.
yeah, but I had been asking for this Amiga for so many years, and I assume they I don't know if they saved up money or waited for the perfect deal, because that was also a second-hand one. So I got one with the monitor and 200 discs and stuff.
All originals, obviously. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I didn't even know what original was back in the days. But yeah, so that was it really, up until I convinced my parents that we needed to have a PC for school. Always needed for school. Yeah, you also going to need a dial-up modem for school as well, and that was in '98. So I haven't really been an early adopter to any of this, but obviously I've been playing both Super Nintendo and other stuff at friends' places when I grew up. But it's been mostly Nintendo, because that was definitely the most common here. We didn't see that many people that had like Sega, or one friend's brother had a Vectrex that we played a couple of times. That must also been late '80s, perhaps.
Again, that's pretty late. Yeah, I mean the Vectrex kind of came and went within, I don't know, 1982 or something. I think it was.
Yeah, it's early. Yeah. But so yeah, that's basically it, really. And then I kind of, like many others, I'd stopped playing around. Yeah, I'd say I remember one friend got a Nintendo 64, and I had no interest in it, and that must have been '97, '98, or when that was released, and tried it for 5 minutes. But then I was 17. It was other interest in life. It was better to hang out, chasing girls and drinking beer.
So nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So did you kind of get out of like playing video games for a while?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Kept playing a bit on the PC, but not much. And I was out of it, I'd say, for some years, or not that many years. I'd say I started collecting NES games because I found my old NES, and that must have been in 2003, I think. And then I found NES, but then it was just all NES again. But that was, childhood memories and stuff. That's the nostalgia kicking in. But that started something, better or worse. That started something. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to buy the games that my friends had that I remember that I didn't have. And it never really stopped. I just kept buying games. And then you started to look at other systems. And then all of a sudden you had a room full of everything. And then I read one day in 2004, it was an interview in a video game magazine with a game collector. And then I saw in the background of his game room, there was an arcade machine. And that was the first time it occurred to me that, yeah, you can actually own them. You can have one yourself. And that was like the Pandora's box, really. Then I started to looking around for one and found one on an ad site and contacted a dude, and he invited me to some arcade forum, and yeah, I haven't looked back since, and that was in 2004.
Yeah. What was your first actual cab then?
That was a generic cabinet built by a company in Denmark. It's called a JKF3. It's just a wood grain cabinet, no marquee, no nothing. It's just basically a control panel monitor. And yeah, that's and a speaker, a mono speaker. So that was a JAMA cabinet, and it came with a Neo Geo motherboard and Super Sidekicks 2. Fantastic football game.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, that was the first. And I didn't have a driver's license back in the day, so I had to convince my friend to drive for a couple of hours to pick it up. And I didn't have anywhere to put it because I had moved back home, even though I was 23, 24. I had moved back to my parents because I was going to go abroad. So I canceled my apartment and sold everything and moved to my parents' place. And I said, I'm going to save up a bit of money and then travel. And then I bought this arcade machine. So we actually, when we came home with it, was not that late. So, and my girlfriend was at work, so we put it in her apartment when she wasn't home. So she came home to this nice surprise with Super Sidekicks in her living room. But you have to test them, right? Because this was in 2004, and she's the mother of my kids, and she's upstairs. Is my wife today, so definitely a keeper.
She was obviously a fan of Super Sidekicks too. Then, aye, brilliant.
Well, she can't even spell it.
The thing about a cabinet, I mean, as you say, like an arcade cabinet was something that you saw in, an arcade, or you saw them in like a local, like a takeaway place or whatever. It was never something that you would even contemplate that you would own, because I mean, if you think about, like, I mean, I'm considerably older than you. When I go back to like the early 80s, and you think of like a Galaxian cabinet, that would have probably, I don't know what it cost back in the day, maybe cost a couple of £1,000s. That was like the equivalent of like a year's wages for people. So it was like, it was never something that was ever going to be possible. And then, as you say, you start to realize when I know this podcast is about you, it's not about me. The very first time when I kind of realized that owning a cabinet was something that a normal man in the street could do, it was when would it be, 2003, 2004. There was a good friend of mine's had this sort of like gaming, a gaming get together. It was through Jeff Minter, his kind of website, and we all went down to Oxford, and we all knew each other through an online forum, which is kind of Discord for like today's kids. And we went down there. We met in this pub, and there was like all these different home systems, but there was like a couple of cabinets, and I thought, fucking hell, I couldn't believe that a cabinet would be something that you would see not in an arcade. I can't even remember what game was it. It was Robotron. Yeah, it was one of my mates, Chris's. He had Robotron. It might only been the one cabinet, and then there was a couple of was it Mars Attacks pinball or something, I think it was. But yeah, that's when I kind of realised that, bloody hell, people actually own these things. So do you mind if I ask how many you've got? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. Have you?
Oh, no, that's it's no secret. I'm kind of open and outspoken, but the honest question is, I don't really know, and it's not that many. It's not like a crazy amount. I'd say I have over 20, less than 30 in total.
Wow.
Not that many down here. I have most of them is now in the warehouse. But usually it's jam packed down where I'm sitting now. It's and this room fits about 17 machines. So that's cabinets. But then you come to the games, which is basically just PCBs or game boards, and I have a few more of them. That's 3 digits at least.
Yeah, really? Wow.
Oh,
you can just swap them. So what is it about? I'm going to come on to the like emulation and the MiSTer and that kind of stuff. What would you say what is it about owning an actual cabinet? Why would you want to own a cabinet? What do you think?
Well, it's kind of hard for me. That's what's kind of, I don't know, makes my heart beat, and I feel this is the real deal and all. And I've tried emulation. My very first cabinet that we mentioned earlier, me and my friend turned that into a MAME cabinet, like quite soon after I got it. But I don't know. For the first, I get the the Netflix effect. You just scrolling through game lists and you never play anything really, and it's not really because now when if I buy a PCB or a game, I look it up. Is this a game I want to spend money on, and do I want to have it? So it's a commitment, and I'm going to play it in a different way. And but I wish I could settle with the Mister in a cabinet or MAME or whatever, but I just can't. I can't like fool myself. And I know it's stupid because it is a money sink for sure, and they break. But for me, I just need the original, and it comes to having the PCB, and then it comes to the point. There's also a lot of bootleg PCBs from back in the days as well, and I can't do that either because I want to have if it's a game from Taito, it's going to be fucking Taito print on the board.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to pass it on to someone. It's I know it's stupid because the real ones, the originals, they usually have custom chips and that can fail and might not be able to repair them anymore. But I know it's stupid, but at the same time, someone has to do it, right? And maybe it's me.
I mean, I've got I don't have any real arcade cabinets. I've got 3 like MAME cabs in my kitchen, which I think is fantastic. For me, it's about being able to play the games. It's not really about owning the originals, whatever it is. But do you know Tony Temple?
Yeah, I know. No oven, at least.
Yeah. Tony's. I mean, I've known Tony for a long time. He's a good mate. When I separated from my my ex 7 years ago, the first thing, I mean, I did have a bar top MAME cabinet. I thought that's great. And I mean, even like I can still remember the excitement of getting a bar top MAME cabinet because I discovered MAME. When would that be? 1997. I first discovered MAME. I got in right at the very early doors, and the first time I loaded up, it was Galaxian and MAME, and seeing that sort of like boot screen with all the sort of the glitching, I'm like, I can't believe this. I am playing the actual arcade Galaxian. I'm like, fucking hell. So then I played emulators for a long time, and then when eventually my mate, I paid my mate to build me a cabinet, and having an actual arcade cabinet, like controls, proper buttons, was just like wow. So when I moved into this place, I thought to myself, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to get a real cabinet. I'm going to treat myself to a cabinet. So I contacted Tony. I says, look, I want to get a cabinet. What do you think? And he went, well, you need to consider. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. He says, have you got deep pockets? I went, well, within reason. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, what games are you after? I went, I said, it'd be a toss-up between Robotron, Galaxian, probably Robotron and Galaxian. It would now be Defender, but I didn't know that at the time. So, and he went, I says, probably Galaxian. And he went, well, you're probably talking about $2 to $3 grand. I went, oof, that's a bit more than I was expecting. He says, the next question is, he says, are you quite handy when it comes to fixing CRT monitors and what have you? I went, nah, I'm absolutely shit at that. So he went, and the last thing, he says, if you do buy one, he says, and you've spent $3 grand in it, he says, and you're looking at this Galaxian cabinet thinking, I've not played that for about 6 months. I really wish I could play Robotron, or I really wish I could play Galaga. But no, I've got my Galaxian cabinet. And I went, he says, you've really got to think long and hard about it. He says, personally, I think you'd be better off get yourself like an arcade cabinet and sticking a PC in it and put MAME in it. He says, and that way, he says, unless you're absolutely desperate to own a real cabinet, he says that way you've got access to all these games. He says you've got the proper arcade experience, and it's going to cost you a fraction less. So that's what I did, and I'm probably quite glad at that, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, Tony, I don't think he doesn't restore cabinets anymore. But like yourself, I think he had maybe about 10 at one point. And yeah,
I've seen pictures. He's good at restoring them, definitely. Didn't he have that little? Was it an Atari Cabaret that was just the same angle as his his broken roof thingy? That just yeah. So it was like it's built after that specific house. That was just absolutely crazy. But the thing is, if he would ask me them questions today, I would answer the same way as you. I don't have deep pockets, and I'm not particularly good at fixing stuff. But the thing is, if you get an arcade cabinet, you're going to have to learn as you go. There's a lot of people out there that knows and are willing to help you out. And of course, you could throw money at the problem and send things away for repairs. But I say it's more about knowing the right guys to ask questions.
Yeah.
So I have repaired some stuff myself, but that's it's not done in 5 minutes. Sometimes an arcade machine can be broken for a year.
Aye.
Until you actually tackle it and figure out what's wrong with it.
Yeah, I know. If I had bought like a Galaxian machine and the CRT went in it, I would have just become extremely depressed and thinking, "Fucking hell, I spent all that money on it, and I've now got a broken machine that nobody's going to want." And I'm like, "Fucking hell!" Whereas I can throw a new PC in, like what happened to one of my cabinets downstairs. The PC went in it, and I just bought a wee mini small PC and I bunged that in it, and it's great. So is there any like holy grail cabinet that you would love to get and you might still get, or is there a holy grail that you know you will never ever afford or get because it's so rare?
It used to be a lot of them, and then I've got some of them as I go, and they have passed through the collection really like, oh fucking, I'm gonna have this game. Then after a while, I would say one, I kind of regret a little selling my Mario Brothers because I had that. So I might get one of them one day. But apart from that, these days I just basically collect PCBs to swap out in the generic machines. But it was when I started buying more cabinets. That's the early stages. You buy everything that pops up for a decent price, no matter if it's an old black and white game from 77 that is like crazy boring and whatnot, and then you were dreaming of these like Donkey Kongs or and Robotron, but when it comes to cabinets, I'd say not really. It's not that important anymore. Something cool pops up, I'm gonna snag it, but it's not that I have money set aside in case this specific game pops up. That's not the case. But of course, it's a matter of space as well. Space and money and time. Yeah. That's all you need, and you don't have.
And what's going to come available as well, obviously. Yeah, I mean, from what I gather, I think that is it like this the JAMA kind of community they're a really good bunch. I think they help each other. And have you ever got involved in any of like the sort of the arcade raids where Tony's got his arcade blogger website and they went on like a ship that was like sinking and all this and have you ever done anything like that?
No, a good friend of mine in Denmark, he was actually living in the UK, so he was on that raid for the Duke of Lancaster, was it?
Oh yeah, it was an old casino.
I think I read that story 10 times, if not more. I was getting goosebumps just thinking of it. That's just such a good story. It's such a cool story. We've been to some old operators, not raids in that sense that no one knows what they have in an old barn or anything, but we've been to old operators and even found old operators that no one found before us. So So we've been climbing over piles and piles of parts and machines and jukeboxes and cars and whatnot in these old barns and stuff, and it's a special feel to it. You rarely find any grails though, really, but it's absolutely the best day you can have is to go into a place that is jam packed with cool stuff. And you don't know it's going to be around the corner, or you don't know what's underneath this thing you're actually looking at. But I'd say them days must be over soon. It's always going to be places around with when someone has hoarded stuff. But yeah, the raids, but it's not to compare with the raids that they've been doing in France and that story about was it, Ollie Alpha One was down in Africa. That's also kind of a crazy story. Zimbabwe or whatever it was. It's just like, I love listening to the stories. I love that more than finding games myself. But yeah, that's it's something special with it.
Yeah. Do you think that, I mean, the chances of, coming across some old container or an old pub or an arcade and discovering all these hundreds of machines, do you think that these are becoming rarer and rarer? Do you think they've all kind of come to the surface now?
Should never say never. I say most of them probably, but I don't know. It's all of a sudden it pops up a game that no one even heard of, like a prototype game or whatever. So it's but it's mostly in America. I'd say that's where they have. Feels like that's where the barns full of arcade hoarders really are, because it's a big country and all. But I'd say over here in Scandinavia, I'd say it's not very likely. I'd say.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm fine with that. By the way, I don't want to, because you spend too much money on shit and you're never going to get running, and then you're going to start giving it away. So I don't know.
I know.
I'd say the best thing if I didn't have internet or a phone.
It's interesting, because people like, you're obviously into your arcade games, your original arcade games, and you would jump through hoops to get a Mario Brothers, whatever it is. But that wasn't always the case, and it's the same with, like, people are selling, I don't know, Commodore 128s, and they're selling it for lots of money. And if you go back 40 years, like when I had my Commodore 64, that was my kind of first computer. I sold that to get an Atari ST, and I sold the Commodore 64 with quite literally hundreds of cassette games, loads of disc games. I had like the full set of Zap magazines, which go for a fortune. I had disc drive, tapes. I sold it all for £100, and I couldn't wait to get rid of it. I was like, does anybody want to buy a Commodore 64? Right, okay, £100. And it's like when you in the UK, I mean, like Blackpool was probably the sort of that was the place for arcades. I mean, I think London probably had a lot of arcades, but Blackpool, I used to go down to Blackpool every couple of years with my mate, and it was just like there was maybe 4 or 5 absolutely gigantic arcades, and it's like, just wow, this is like Nirvana. But then when the 90s came along and nobody was wanting to play Donkey Kong, nobody was interested in playing Galaxian, people wanted to play Final Fight, and then we gradually moved through the 90s, and then eventually, I mean, I don't know, we got to like the 2000s. Nobody gave a shit about playing Final Fight. Nobody was wanting to play Asteroids. And so all these cabinets, they were like surplus to requirements, because these games were never made to be enjoyed. They were made to make money. It was equivalent of a gambling machine. You put in 10 pence or whatever it was, you pulled the handle, and then keep going. It's the same in an arcade game. I mean, I think that they reckon the average person lasts about 45 seconds on an arcade game, or if it's even less if it's Defender, obviously. But they were designed to make money. These arcade guys never in a million years thought that 40 years on, guys like yourself are going to be paying lots of money for these machines. They were never designed to last this long, were they?
No, but still, they built them very robust and sturdy. I mean, they can take a good beating as well. But I guess they had to, because thinking of the environments they were meant to set in. But yeah, they were. I don't think they expected anyone to play any of these games like 40, 50 years down the road. And I'm actually a bit surprised how many machines is actually still around, that they didn't scrap more than they actually did, because yeah, the vast majority, of course, must have been scrapped by now. But some people, yeah, they kept the monitors or the PCBs, maybe spare part, and then they scrapped the cabinets. But it's still just so many cabinets out there. It's ridiculous. So they must have built millions and millions.
So, I mean, if you think about it, if you think about, like, I don't know, we'll talk about Galaxian. I don't know, when did that come out? 1982 or something like that? 1981, 1982?
The Galaxian was earlier, I'd say. Wasn't that like 79 or no?
It might have been. Maybe I'm not going to argue with you. Yeah,
I'm not a fan of Galaxian, but I think it was 70s game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
one of them early.
Let me have a look. Let's see who's Galaxian.
Yeah, 79. Yeah.
Was it 79?
Yeah.
Well, you're quicker than me. Fantastic. So you think about it. 1979, Galaxian came out. What would you reckon the average lifespan of I don't mean like 10 years. How people would go in, and the people would go in their local, I don't know, like takeaway place. Oh, there's a video game, put in 10p, play Galaxian. After so many months or a year, whatever, people would stop playing it. That's shite. I've got a Commodore 64. I don't want to play that. So they would replace it. And to think, I mean, there are a lot of Galaxian cabinets, and people own a lot of Galaxian cabinets. Where did these cabinets actually go for about 20 years? Somebody must have decided, I'm going to put that in a cupboard and leave it there for 30 years until somebody decides they want to buy it, because there must have been thousands of Galaxian cabinets stored somewhere.
Yeah, but I'd say what we have seen is it's old operators that is still, many of them still in business, but the businesses have changed. Mm-hmm. So they sit with a warehouse. But like, we have an example here in Sweden. I know our friends bought old classic games like in recent years from them, but I think they're in the business of online casinos these days and stuff. And now they're starting to think like, yeah, maybe we don't need this warehouse full of old pinball machines and whatever coin op things. So I'd say that's mostly. I don't think that many ended up in private homes in the 80s.
They're too expensive, wouldn't they have been?
Yeah, I'd say they were probably not expensive when.
No, maybe not.
When they said like, no one want to have this Galaxian in their chip shop anymore. I'd say you could probably buy it cheap then, but no one was interested in Galaxian at the time. So
yeah. Did you see, when you think about it, there was if you said to somebody, do you want a Galaxian arcade machine, or do you want a Commodore Amiga? You're going to go for the Amiga every time. Fucking hell, I've got, the Amiga can do Galaxian. It can also do lots of stuff that this Galaxian machine can't do. So, yeah.
Yeah, but they could have said, you want this Galaxian machine or you want a pizza? You would go for the pizza. Probably.
Well, I've got an anecdote which I've mentioned 1,000 times. It was probably 1986. You were probably weren't even born. What age? Go and make me feel old. What age were you in 1986?
I was 6.
6. Well, there you go. 1986. I was going to a seaside resort with about 3 or 4 mates. We're in the car, and we were driving along, and we saw a Galaxian arcade machine lying at the side of the road. And I remember looking at it and thinking, look at that. And we just carried on driving. We never ever thought about, let's get out and see if it works. We weren't interested. Like, we just thought this was hilarious.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened to that machine. I wonder if somebody picked up. Chances are it probably got picked up by the local council and crushed.
Most likely.
Recycled.
Maybe we should go back. Maybe under a big bush.
I'll do you a good deal. Oh mate, I get my Galaxian cab for nothing. So what?
Have you heard that story about that big? Is it an R360? Like this massive Sega machine is like humongous. That was sitting in a field in Ireland.
Really?
Yeah. I don't really know the full story to it, but it was just sitting there rotting away. I think it's probably gone now, but it was in the middle of a field. Probably some operators are like, hey, local farmer, can we put this on your land? Or I don't know. Just how did it end up there? Because it's just too massive. You can't even put it on a trailer and get it over there yourself. It's hundreds and hundreds of kilos. It's
mental.
It's just absolutely crazy.
That somebody actually went to the bother to drive it in the middle of a field. So it was obviously like fly tipping, but with arcade cabinets, eh?
Yeah. It's I don't know.
So what's your obviously you're a what is your thoughts? You know, there's probably 99% of people that are into like video games, like classic video games, don't have cabinets because for different reasons they can't afford them, they've not got the knowledge, they don't have the space. I mean, the space is a big thing. What's your thoughts on like emulation, the misters? Do you think they're a good thing?
It's I usually have quite strong standpoint on this, but no, it's just for shits and giggles. I don't mind it at all. To each their own. Let's play the games. That's but it's just not for me. I don't own a mister. I do have a MAME library, but that's more for like, do I need a data for one of my EEPROMs on one of my boards? That's because MAME has saved many original games as well. And you can get information, and people can troubleshoot boards through emulation and stuff. So it's, but that's to each their own. And I'm happy if I would meet you in a bar somewhere and they have a MAME machine. Of course, we're going to have a few credits, even though it's a flat screen and whatnot. But it's to each their own. But it's just not for me. I wish it was. I wish I could settle with it and two machines. Really. Yeah. I could drive a nice car instead, or
there's a fun in that though. But no, exactly. I've read over the years. I've read some people that are saying, you know, they completely like run emulation at the ground and all that. And my take on it is, if it wasn't for emulation, then 99% of people would not get to enjoy video games. And, you know, I think for me personally, MAME is probably the single best bit of software that has ever been written, because it's allowed me, when I think back to when I used to go down to Blackpool and there was all these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of arcade machines, I can go downstairs to my kitchen and fire up one of the cabinets and play Defender. Like, without emulation, I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have that.
Exactly.
And I think it's great. Well, you know, one thing that always absolutely I find staggering is, I'm not one of these guys, despite being called MAME Meister. I don't update MAME. I mean, I think the MAME that I'm using on my cabinets are probably about 10 years old. I'm not interested in playing Ridge Racer. I just want to be able to play Donkey Kong and stuff like that. But I mean, I think like the latest MAME supports something like, I don't know, like 10,000 games or something. It's absolutely ridiculous. And when you see some of these games, they must be so obscure. But would that mean that somebody somewhere actually owned that board to allow somebody to then get that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's true. Yeah.
It's mental.
But yeah, no, it's, as I said, it's to each their own. I like the full experience with a cabinet and all, but
I totally get that, 100%. Yeah.
And many people do that. They have one cabinet and they just to get a bit of the feel, but it's never going to be the same. And for me, I know what's inside as well. It's just I don't know, my OCD somehow, but I wish I could settle, but I don't. And many of my friends in the hobby are like me. I'd say they don't. We just, I don't know.
You're purists, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. For me, I mean, like playing like a SNES game on a PC using like a gamepad. Don't get me wrong. Again, I'm now sounding like a bit of a hardware snob. You know, it's great that people can do that, or playing like I don't know, playing a SNES or playing a Commodore 64 game on a 52-inch LCD screen using a gamepad. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got my Commodore 64 there. I've got my recreated 64 there. For me, it's about. I think the control has to be an 8-bit joystick. If I'm playing Defender, it's got to be the proper controls and that kind of stuff. So I do totally get it. Definitely get it.
What grinds my gear a bit about the MAME and all, I joined, can't even remember the name of it because I left. It was a new arcade Discord, and people were putting up like, photos or whatever. And I just fixed one of my machines and put up about 10 photos, like, look at this, and now it's fucking back up running, and didn't even get a thumbs up. And then someone posted, hey, look what I built. And it's just fucking a pile of shit. And he's getting all the hallelujahs you can imagine. And it was just flooded with hearts. And I was like, is this an arcade or what's this? It's not a do-it-yourself Discord. It was like, I was just like, it's just tumbleweed when you post something that is fucking, I found this in the barn, I restored it and whatever.
I think you've got to have a certain type of person to appreciate. I mean, I would appreciate that. I go, fucking hell, that's brilliant. But other people, just they're usually they're more interested in looking at some. Oh, look at this Raspberry Pi build that I've got. It's got 52,000 games in it. Oh, that's so cool. You know.
Yeah, that's people come on my stream sometimes and I request a game, and I said, I don't have it, so I can't play it. Sorry, but if I stumble across a PCB in the future, maybe. But because I have more, I say that I have 150 games ish, plus some Neo Geo stuff, and it's more than I need really, because some of my games haven't been played in a year probably. So it might be the time to pass some of them on instead. If someone else is stupid enough to do what I do. But
I forgot. Actually, you've got a Twitch channel, I think, is it?
I do, yeah.
What to do? Send me it in Discord, and I'll put a wee link to it down below, and I'll certainly put that in the description. So, just before we crack on with the main event, there's a game. I don't know what game it is. There's an arcade game that apparently there's only one in existence, and the guy that owns it, I hope to God it's not you, the guy that owns it is refusing to let the MAME guys get access to it so that other people can get to enjoy it. Do you know what game it is? And please tell me it's not you.
No, I'd say sharing is caring, right? And I'd say if I had the one-off of a PCB, I would get that dumped as soon as possible, because if that breaks, you can't even fix your own board if you don't have the but I've heard stories as well about someone he's got all the data backed up, but he's not sharing it. Don't know can you remember what game it was? Because I heard stories about. I think was it Marble Madness 2? I think that's out now. That was in America, I think.
I'm sure I've seen some. I'm sure I've seen pictures of that in MAME. No, I don't know.
Yeah, it might be out now, but I know it was a bit of a. Yeah, I don't know. No, I would happily share. And I actually have one thing that I should get dumped, and that is I'm not very technical, but that is the CPU for Alex Kidd PCB, because Sega had like encryption, like they had a battery with the CPU hands and that basically held the key to access the game. And if the battery dies, the board is dead. There's no going back. These days, they can revive the boards by de-suiciding them. And that means that you use altered data and a stock CPU. So you can't really run the original EEPROMs. The game will be exactly the same. But you don't have the original EEPROMs with the original stickers and whatnot. And as far as we know, my board might be the only one that's still running the original CPU, and the
Wow.
battery's been changed just last year by a super techie friend, because you're going to have to do it while the board is running, which is kind of it's not. I would never do it, and it's a crazy expensive PCB as well. But I know I should send that one to get dumped, because I know there's a guy in the UK that waits because then they can get the original CPU running again. I think you basically dump this sequence of codes in the CPU. So I should really get around to that. But no, I'm happy to share.
I just think
it's been an example here as well in Sweden. There was a guy that found a super rare cabinet. Don't really want to mention the game because it's so obvious who it is then, but he didn't even want to share pictures of it because someone might reproduce artwork and whatnot.
I think that might be what I was talking about.
Yeah, but for me, it's I still have the original. It's not going to decrease in value, even though a lot of reproduction shows up.
Yeah,
might be the other way though, around. If it might increase the value of your original if there's going to be a lot of reproduction. Yeah, because it's always stupid idiots like me that want to have the original.
Did you see on my channel? I don't know if you know Arlosoft, Nick Sherman. You'll probably see Nick in my Discord.
Oh, yeah.
Nick, he has programmed some absolutely fantastic conversions, arcade games for the Commodore 64. He did Berserk. He's done Burger Time, and honestly, if you saw Nick's Burger Time running against the arcade one, you'd be like, "What one's arcade?" What was I going to say? There was one of the guys that's in my Discord that watches the channel. There's a game, Vampire Killers, Vampire Hunters, something like that. And the guy Steve was going on about, I remember playing this in Blackpool. I absolutely loved the game, but it's not in MAME.
No.
So what Steve did is Nick said, if you can send me screenshots of the game, I'll see what I can do. And Nick, using just screenshots, and I think there might have been a video of an actual arcade one, he wrote for MAME. Does it run on a PC? He wrote a version of this game based on just watching a video, and it's absolutely fucking staggering. And,
I've seen it now when you mention it. I've seen it on the channel.
It's like, wow, that is just so cool. Obviously, just before we get on to the main event, emulation. I mean, we'll talk about MAME. You've got all these lovely cabinets, and there's thousands of cabinets. Think about in 50 years' time, or we'll round it up to 100 years' time. You and me and all these guys and people that have got cabinets will all be dust. We'll all be gone. Chances are all these arcade cabinets, I mean, they're probably going to be gone. There might be one or two, maybe your great grandkids are going to still keep these things going. But in effect, in 100 years' time or 200 years' time, all these cabinets will cease to exist. And if it wasn't for MAME, people would be saying, I can remember, I found a diary from my granddad. He lived in Sweden back in 2025, and he used to play this game called Galaxian. And you might get a screenshot of it on the internet in 100 years' time. But thanks to MAME, we can just go in and play all these games. And so, I mean, I know MAME was set up, it was like a historic archive. And for that, I think it's fantastic because they have kept all these games alive so that in 100 years' time, your great grandkids and my great grandkids, whatever it is, they can still enjoy Rolling Thunder and Mr. Do. And that they would never, ever, never be able to do that.
Yeah, but in 100 years' time, we can probably just ask the super advanced AI to, hey, I heard about that. I have this photo of my granddad. It's fading, but he's sitting in front of something. What is that? Build me one. And the next day, you're going to have it delivered.
It'll 3D print it. You're probably right. You're probably right. I know.
And it is what it is. To be honest, we're here living now. Couldn't give two fucks about 100 years from now. It's
Aye.
really
Live for the now. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, the main event. You know what I'm going to ask you.
Oh,
Yeah, you had to. I'm going to be sending you a desert island, and you're allowed to take 3 games. It can be any game at all. Arcade. It can be on the Wii U. It can be on the Game Boy. Whatever. Anything at all. Pick 3 games. Give me them one at a time. Tell me why you would take that game to the desert island, and then we can look at part 2 in a wee second. So, what would be your first game that you would take, and explain why?
I would take one of them fancy main machines you're speaking so fondly about. Then I have it all, right?
Well, you can get 3 games in it, and that's it.
Yeah. Let me see here now. I've taken notes. It was actually trickier than I thought to pick games. So we're going to go for the good ones first here now. It's really, really hard. I'd say there's no specific order here. This is 3 games that I think would last me on this deserted island. And number 1 is actually Donkey Kong. I hate it as much as I love it, but it's going to last me for an eternity. Trying to get another kill screen or a better score or whatnot. And so it's also, that was really the game that got me into the online community and stuff. So it's tied to a lot of people I know now, because like sitting here now and knowing Ian Cullen suggested me to go on here. It's all,
Oh, yeah.
It all comes back to me getting the Donkey Kong. Like everyone else, I watched the King of Kong and felt like, oh, I can do that. And then an arcade machine popped up here in Sweden. It was unheard of, a dedicated Donkey Kong in Sweden. And one popped up on an ad site, and I happened to be the first one to reach out to him. So, and I thought it was like 4 or 5 years ago. I realized it's actually 9 years ago. And because of that game, I went into, I wanted to learn the game. So I went on Twitch. I was not on Twitch before. Say, let's see if there is someone on here that plays the game and that can actually explain it to me. And that's when I found English gentleman, Mr. Charlie Farr. You probably heard his name more than once.
Dave's a good friend of mine as well.
Yeah, so I joined his. He was kind of. Wasn't that many people around back then. It was me and a few others. And from that, the circle grew and grew and grew, and I got better at the game as well. And I still play it weekly now. So I would definitely bring that to a deserted island for many reasons. And the game itself need no introduction. Everyone knows Donkey Kong.
What is it about the game that attracts so much attention? I mean, it seems to be the game. I mean, like Pac-Man, obviously the perfect Pac-Man, and Donkey Kong. That is the game that just attracts so much attention when it comes to high scores. What is it about the game, do you think, that just makes it such a captivating arcade game?
I think there is several reasons as well. For the first, it's definitely a game of skill more than a game of memory. Like I'd say, more arcade games than you think. It's a memory game, really. It's not much RNG to it, and so I'd say that is one thing. And then I say you have that elusive kill screen on level 22. It's an end to the game. It's not. You can't go on playing for days. You need to get as much points as you can before this specific point. So I'd say it's the playing field is limited sort of by what you can do on these levels. Because I've always said Donkey Kong wouldn't be the same if that would be another endless game where someone will play it for 48 hours. It wouldn't. But apart from that, I know it's a good game.
I mean, I've been down to the arcade club a few times, and like I've stood beside Charlie Farr and watched him playing it, and there's just so many, and there's so many little sort of, what's it called, foibles, whatever it is. There's so many little quirks about it. Like I said to Dave, sometimes when I when I if I'm jumping over another barrel and I'm jumping, but another barrel comes, I can't jump quick enough. He says, what you got to look? He says, you look just before he hits just as he hits the ground, there's a little spark of lightning. He says, that's when you've got to press. I didn't even notice that. There's lots of little things like that, and there's little quirks and things to learn. And Russ, who's on Retro Russ, who's on my Discord, he was showing me when I was down at we're down at the cave a couple of months ago, and he was telling me about how when a barrel, you can by using the joystick, it's after level 5, you can influence the barrel to go down a ladder, and he was showing me that. So there's so many little bits and pieces, and I can kind of get. I mean, I do play, but I've not got it there. In fact, you'll be impressed with this if I can find it. Where the fuck is it? Oh bugger! There we go. I got one of my friends, Mike Hansen, to make me this.
That's a nice one.
It's a 4-way joystick.
Yeah, I was just going to say, is it the 4-way?
8-way, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It's got a lovely.
That's nice. What is that? Would that be a USB stick then? No?
Yep, USB, and it's got again the buttons are, I don't know what Sanwa, whatever it is, but that allows me to play it on my PC, but I've got the proper controls, and to me that really, really makes it. So I mean, Donkey Kong, it's a phenomenal game.
I think for me, I need the original Nintendo joystick and buttons. It's just I've been playing it so much, so it's a special feel to it.
It's quite a small little joystick.
It's
got. I know
it was basically the same joystick on every Nintendo arcade machine.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah. A bit varieties with obviously if it's 2, 4, or 8-way, and but the base is basically the same, and it's just for me that's the perfect joystick. I absolutely love it. And I actually saw Russ. He was I met him in Denmark earlier this year when he went over for the Danish Kong Off.
That's right. Yeah.
We hung out there for a couple of days.
He's very good at
the game. Yeah, he got second place in the tournament, which was good.
Oh wow!
It was better than me, but he wasn't drinking as heavily either. So I have my explanations.
Well, at least when you go to your desert island, you're not going to get disturbed. There'll be no alcohol, and you can master Donkey Kong and get to that kill screen.
And then I'm going to be busy trying to make alcohol instead because. So we're going to have the Kong Off. Kong's going to be next year. You see
I'm looking at your T-shirt. I know you can't see it down at Arcade Club. Yeah. Have you been to Arcade Club before? Yeah.
No, I haven't. I haven't been to.
You're in
for England in many, many years. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
You're in for a treat. It is phenomenal. It really is. I mean, there's must be about 600 cabinets or something.
I love the environment, but when I go to places like this, I don't really play that much. I tend to just hang around, and the games I play is games I already have at home.
Brilliant. Right, anyway, game number 1, game number 2. What's it going to be?
Game number 2 is, for some people, is no surprise really, and this is a game I hadn't even heard of. This game just, let's say, time flies. Is it 3 years ago, 5 years ago? But it was a guy from Ireland, Ed Horse, and also Ian Cullen. They said, "Oh, this is right up your alley, this game," because they both have it as one of their favorite games, and I hadn't heard of it. So I looked it up. I said, "Yeah, it looks great, this game. Gonna see if I can find a PCB. Otherwise, I can't play it." And then Ed said, "Yeah, good luck with that," because he said this is like super rare, and he has a bootleg PCB. But I started to look around, and didn't take that long. Then I found a PCB in a Japanese PCB web shop, and I bought it. And it was a big investment, but I haven't ever regretted it, because first time I played it was here in my basement on a cabinet when I hooked it up, and I felt after 2 seconds like this could be the best arcade game ever.
Can I guess? Can I guess before
Yeah,
you
you
tell me?
can. You're probably going to get it.
Mr. Driller.
No. Way more obscure than that. It's a game from 1986 made by a company called Able Corporation.
And it's an arcade game.
Yeah.
No.
No. Anyhow, the game is called Baloo Balook no Densetsu, which I think translates to The Adventures of Baloo Balook. And it's absolutely fantastic game. It's I'm going to try to explain it. You're familiar with Bomb Jack, I guess.
Yep.
And the story goes that someone has dug into the code of this game and they found names. So they reckon some of the people from Tekken that was involved with Bomb Jack also made this game because there's many similarities. Like the pinout of the PCB itself is the same as a Bomb Jack PCB, and it's basically the same objective: collect everything on screen and move on to the next one. It's so you're this little fella, Baloo Balook, running around collecting chests, avoiding enemies. And it's just so fantastic. The controls are so tight, music, graphics, everything is 10 out of 10. It's just, I just can't get enough of the game. And I got in quite good at it. So a good credit now, that's going to be, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. But it's just, I would bring that game as well because... So there is still games out there to discover because that was like an instant favorite. I guess if I would have seen that back in '86, I wouldn't even look at it.
Yeah, I think. How do you know Ian Cullen, by the way? Because I know I'm pals with Ian. We go to the same computer club, so I've known Ian for probably about 15 years. How do you know Ian? Is it through the JAMA forums or something, or?
No, it's through the Twitch community, really, around streamers like, I'm going to name drop here now, but around Soldable and Charlie Far and Ponder, and we've been hanging out on the same Twitch channels, and then come on Discord, and then a couple of us realized that we are middle-aged men with kids at home that want to play Fortnite, so we were talking games and I was playing Fortnite with the kids here because, you've got to keep an eye on these 10-year-olds going online playing games. And we were several of us in the same situation. So we said, maybe we should have a go at this. So I'd say several times a week I do play Fortnite with Mr. Ian and some of the other lads.
I must admit, when I've been on Steam, I've noticed it'll say he's playing Fortnite. I went, what is he doing? But
yeah, but I say for me, it's not that much about the game. It's about us talking shit and
yeah.
And, it's nice to talk to people that is not really connected to you in that way.
Yeah,
I mean, there is whatever you say, it's not gonna come back to you the next day and like whatever you can be. It's just nice being guys. It's, can't believe we're not banned from Fortnite yet because I know they can hear what we talk about. But that's basically it. I never met him, but I would consider him a friend because this online friends or whatever. But I talk more to him than I talk to my real life friends. Well,
I know Ian does listen to these.
Yeah.
I personally find him he's a bit of a git, but anyway,
Anyway, don't tell him.
Yeah.
What was that game? Fortnite as well.
What is that game number 2? I'm going to write it down so I can check. What's it called again?
It's Baluba, Baluba.
Baluba.
No, Baluba Luke. Louk.
I'm sure Ian asked me to play that in a stream at one point. I can't remember anything about it, but I'm going to have a look anyway. So what is it about the game? It's just a great game.
It's a fantastic game. I enjoy every second I spent playing that game. It's just, I don't know. It's just sort of the perfect game.
So it's just one of these games that it was an unknown gem that never really got out of Japan, and nobody's ever heard of it.
I'd say that's the case.
Yeah.
There exists some bootlegs over here in the West, and I'd say they probably, I don't know, for some reason it feels like most of all the bootlegs boards were made down in Southern Europe, Spain, Italy, Turkey. I don't know, because it feels like that's where they come from. So someone must have brought it over, at least one original back in the days. But it's not. It's a very, very rare game to find. It's quite rare to find as a bootleg as well. But I don't think it was. I mean, it wasn't commonly spread in Japan either, I'd say, and it was this oddball company as well. And don't really know it's the story to it, or what happened to the company either. I played a modern fishing game on the Sega STV system, which would be the arcade equivalent of the Saturn, I think. And that also had this Able Corp on the title screen. But that's, as far as I know, the only two games that have their name. But that's 20 years apart. So I don't know. But yeah, look it up.
Yeah, well, indeed. I suppose when you think about it, there were so many thousands of games coming out. You're always going to get something that gets completely overlooked because it didn't come out it wasn't released by Namco or Konami.
Yeah,
people
exactly.
weren't interested. I know.
Yeah, I'd say most likely. But yeah, I would bring that game as well.
Fantastic. And game number 3.
This is the hardest one. Up until last night, I was convinced what game to bring. And it's a game that I know that you absolutely hate. But I was going to bring Rainbow Islands, the extra version, which is released a year after the original. It's just basically a way harder version of Rainbow Islands. And I've been playing that a lot. I mean, I streamed that at least once a week for over a year to get 1 credit clear of it. And eventually I got it. But I didn't have the maximum amount of points that you could have. Because, it counter stops at 10 million or 9,999,000. So I felt like I'm going to bring that because then eventually I might get that run. But last night I played a credit of this game and I did it.
Wow!
So
really?
I've done. Yeah, it's because that's the game we play now for the Maymeister High Score Kerfuffle.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
That's the game we're playing right now. So I was going to put in a really good score, and so last night I'm still gonna play that game probably quite a lot because I love it, but I'm done with it. So I'm not going to bring that because I'm done. So instead, I'm going to take another one that is a no-brainer, really, and that's going to be a Robotron 2084. Don't know. It seems to be everyone's favorite game, or it's up there for many, many people. Yeah. And with that game, it's the same. It's full action from coin drop until you're done, and you're gonna walk away from the machine felt like you've been to the gym because it's a bit of a workout. And I just absolutely love that game. So I would bring Robotron machine as well. So my list is filled with arcade games, really. But that's what I love. It's a million games I could bring. I could bring Zeldas and Marios, and there's so many good games out there that I would love to bring. But it's going to be 3. I'm going to have my little arcade on that island in case I get visitors.
Well, I'm glad you did take the one you're mentioning in case I was.
I'll leave that behind for you to play.
In case I had to swim to the nearest island and it was your island, there was a bloody Rainbow Islands cabin in there. We'll not go into why I don't like it. I mean, one of my pet hates about YouTube is when you see people making a video about a video game and they'll play it for 5 minutes and go, "This is absolutely not even like an arcade game, any game for the Spectrum or anything." They go, "This is absolutely shit," and it's like, how can you possibly judge a game based on you playing it for like 3 or 4 minutes? That's and that's why I always say I don't review games. I mean, I will play a game and I'll give my opinion of what I think about it, but it's not to say that my opinion is correct or anything. It's just my
Obviously, it's
opinion.
not.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I think is what I love about this podcast series is the number of games that people say they'll take to the island, and then there'll be 3 or 4 people will say it's their worst game ever, and it's great, and I think it's brilliant that people. I mean, you've just picked Rain. Well, you didn't pick Rainbow Islands, but you said Rainbow Islands. You were thinking about it. Then you've gone for Robotron. Well, I absolutely adore Robotron. I think it's probably about the purest arcade game, purest video game you can get. It's like real life. You're running away from a baddie and you're shooting them left, right, fire. That's
like in
it.
real life.
Never. I mean, if anybody says, "Oh, the controls" or whatever, I mean, how many times do you play? If I put on the very, very odd occasion, I put on my Xbox and I load up like a modern game. I'm like, oh, how do I crouch? How do I fucking jump? How do I change weapons? And you're like, fuck this. Whereas Robotron, you're right into it, bang. You're up and running, and it's pure arcade, pure gaming.
Yeah, as I actually talked about it on stream last night. That's the one game where I can kind of feel what it is to get in the zone. I'm not very good at the game. My personal best is just a bit over 600,000. But I've been there when the world around you disappears.
Yeah.
And that rarely happens with any other game. Doesn't matter how much I focus or how intense it is. It doesn't happen with Donkey Kong. It doesn't happen with Rainbow Islands. No, nothing. But with Robotron, there is something. And that's what you need, because that game is brutal. Because you can't just casually play Robotron.
Yeah.
Or I can't, at least.
Yeah.
But it's a fantastic game, and should really bring that back to the basement.
Yeah,
so
you get like 3 or 4 seconds of respite. Well, it kind of goes, and boom, you're back in again. Fucking hell.
And that's Robotron also got the sounds in Robotron. For me, that's very important with any game that I mention here. It's the music and sound effects is to me, it's more important than graphics, really. Tight controls, good sounds. That's what gets it. But yeah, that's the 3. That's my little island arcade.
No, 3 great choices, and I look forward to checking out Baluba. What was that again? Baluba. Look.
Yeah.
L-O-U-K. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, you've probably seen it. You're probably going to hate it because you don't seem to like good, cute games.
Fantastic. Right, now the nasty element. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually good because I'm giving you the opportunity to remove 3 video games from history. And bear in mind, whatever you pick might impact on later games coming out. So just bear that in mind before you give me choice number 1.
All right, so what do you say? Say that I would pick Donkey Kong. It would be no Donkey Kong Jr. then. Is it going to be the butterfly?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
No. It's no bother. This list could also be very, very long. I mean, I have genres of games that I would like to remove. I could say any 1v1 fighting game, just get rid of them all. I couldn't care less. But I tried to pick 3 here that I really, really don't like. And I'm going to start off with taking one for the team, really. And I'm going to delete Roblox. I know it's a modern game, but I'm going to remove it for all the kids growing up now playing that absolute yank. It's so many good games and real games that they could play instead of sitting there, because that is just brain rot, really. I see the kids play it and it's just... they want me to try it, and I said never going to touch that shit. I said that's destroying the next generation. Really, it's. I know some people probably like it because that's the cheapest babysitter you're ever going to get, I guess. But,
yeah.
But it's just no. definitely gonna delete Roblox, and the kids would hate me for it, but I can live with that.
Somebody through that wall plays that game as well.
Yeah, it's just I just don't get it. Maybe I'm just too old. I don't know. Probably would have loved to have that in the early 90s. I don't know, but
I don't even. I mean, I know so.
But is it even considered just one game? Because
I know,
it feels like it's more like a platformer.
I don't know. I don't even know what kind of game it is. I mean, I've seen my daughter playing it. She'll be playing it and running about. What's that? You're playing all Roblox, whatever. Oh, right, okay. I don't even know what the point of the game is. I mean, it seems to be more like a social thing where there's all like different friends and all that. I don't know, but it probably is a generational thing, to be fair. But yeah, I'm completely with you in that one. Would you is Minecraft like Roblox? I don't know.
I'd say Minecraft is a game. That's it. I think Roblox would be more a bit like Fortnite. I don't know how familiar you are with Fortnite. But if you go into Fortnite, it's going to be hundreds of game modes, and they are actually different. That's a racing game. That's a capture the flag game. So it's going to be. So maybe it's not one game to race because it feels like it was originally a game, but now it's more like a platform. And I think that users can make their own games and stuff. But so I mean, it's up to you to allow if we can erase it or not. But
no, it's your call. It's your call.
Yeah, if I don't even know if it's considered just the one game, but I'll say it is.
Let's get rid of Roblox.
Get rid of it. Yeah. And you ready for pick number 2, or?
Yep, go for it. Game number 2.
All right. The next is actually an arcade game from, I don't know, mid-80s. It's also one of them games that someone mentioned, and I looked it up, looking a minute of gameplay on YouTube, and then I decide, am I going to look for this PCB and spend hundreds of pounds on it or not? And I'm like, yeah, this looks exactly like my type of game. So I'm going to get this. And maybe a year, 2 years later, stumble across one. And then I get it home. And I'm like, something wrong with this game. It's not working as it should. It's broken, like. But then I realized this is the way the game works. And it's absolutely horrible. So you don't judge a book by the cover. I did, and it was the worst book ever, because this is a game called Athena, made by SNK. It's a platformer. You go from.
I'm trying to visualize it. Has it got a woman in it or something? No.
Yeah. That's the one good part of it is that when she's dropping down a hole, her little skirt is lifting a bit.
The only thing I can think of is I'm sure it got released for like the home computers, and I can visualize. I think she's wearing a blue dress. I've got this image, dark hair, blue dress. Red. Yeah, and is there not like some kind of like Minotaur or something? She's like, Rah!
Yeah, you're falling down in the beginning. I think you start in some kind of forest. But the thing is, it's just broken. The enemies, if you just barely touch them, you have like a life bar, but that's pointless because you're just going to die and die and die. And it's just so frustrating. And I hated it so much. So one of my viewers actually sent me the NES cart for the same game. So I had a buddy here, and we were going to play both the NES and the arcade version to kind of compare them. And then we came to the conclusion that the NES version is a tiny, tiny bit less shite. But I still have the game, and I know I'm going to play it again. But probably because I'm going to think, could it really be that bad? And then I'm going to be reminded that, it is really, really that bad. I absolutely hate it. So I should really get rid of it, or keep it as a reminder that don't do this mistake again.
What is it about the game? What is it so bad about it?
The control. I said the music might be somewhat all right, because I can't remember hating the soundtrack to it. But it just plays really, really bad. Controls are absolutely shite, and the enemies are just respawning all the time. And sometimes it feels like you can run through a few enemies and kill them. But then the next time you're going to do the same thing, you just die by the first touch for some reason, and I don't know why. It just feels it's just not well programmed, really.
Who brought the game out?
SNK.
Okay, well, that's like went on to do like Neo Geo stuff. That's it's quite unusual to have. I mean, you know, yeah, but it's a kind of a sort of running joke. I don't like Rainbow Islands, but I wouldn't be that stupid to say it's a bad game. I know thousands of people like it. It's just not a game that I enjoy. But to actually hear of an arcade game that is actually a bad game, it was badly programmed. You've got to wonder how that game got through like QA. Eh?
Yeah, I wanted that as well. I have no idea, and it's not a very common game either. I mean, if an operator bought 1 or 2 PCBs, they're not going to place a back order for more. Mm-hmm. I bet they did that with like Rainbow Islands or other games that I say, it's a good game and people actually play it. But that one is just, I don't know what's up with that game. I'd say this list could be 1,000 games easily, but I kind of was thinking mostly of my arcade experiences when picking these games. Apart from Roblox, then. But yeah, Athena to the bin. With that one.
Well, I'm going to check that out. What I love about these podcasts is I will go in, not every game, but I will go and check it out. I'll check out some of the really bad games and some of the really good games. And I keep meaning, maybe when I get to episode 100, what I might do is I might write a book and I will put in, because what I think is great, and I'm not bigging up my podcast at all, what I think is great is I'm getting the guests that come on, including yourself, are people who like playing video games. You know, you're like me. Well, I'm older than you, but you know, I've been playing video games for like nigh on over 40 odd years, and it's great hearing people give what they would deem their best 3 games. So I could have 100 nice and nasties, which would give me 300 of the best games ever. The funny thing is, some of these games appear on the worst.
I was just going to say, how many of the games are going to be on both lists?
Yeah.
I'd say probably more than you think, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And what I find interesting is, do you know Sick Boy Andrew Lowe?
I just know the nickname, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Andy again, a mate of mine. I've known Andy for over 20 odd years. Andy is. Put it this way, when I was on that Jeff Minter forum, they had a Yak Yak. It was called Yak Yak. They had a Yak Yak high score, similar to the main Meister Kerfuffle thing, whatever the hell I call it, high score Kerfuffle. And they used to they would pick a game each week, and it was always Sick Boy and Charlie Farr. They would always battle it out, see who's going to win. Andy is just he's a phenomenal game player. I might even, and I hope Dave doesn't mind me saying this, I might even say that he's more naturally gifted, because Dave will say to me, the reason I'm good at a lot of games is because I play them. Whereas Andy has just got this, talent where he can play a game for the first time and just be fucking great at it. He's got this, and what I actually asked him, I says, why are you so good at games? Even things like, you could play FIFA soccer against him and he'll fucking annihilate you, and you could play defender and he'll get 2 million on it. He's just, and what he said was, he's got this. He says he's got this. I was in a hotel. We were having our breakfast in the morning, and I was asking him that question, and he said, "Well, you and I are sitting here having breakfast, facing each other." He says, "There's 2 girls sitting over in the corner, and one of them's talking about she's just got a new car, and the guy over there's talking to his boss about such and such." He says, "I've got this thing where I'm able to sort of hear what's going on around me." He says, "and I'm able to apply that to a video game. So when I'm looking at a video game like Robotron, I'm able to see the bigger picture, whereas maybe you and somebody else can only see what's going on." and he's got this ability. So anyway, he grew up in he comes from London. He grew up in arcades, and arcades is his thing. But his favourite game, the game that he picked, was the latest Zelda game for the Switch, which so it's
fantastic
great.
game though.
I
could have picked that.
Just for your information, Andy he's done a nice and nasty with me, so I know I've just spoiled it for one of the games, but you might want to listen to it.
I've listened to a few. I can't remember anyone picking that though. But
Andrew Lowe, Sick Boy, look it up. I did try to get Charlie Farrow, and I've asked him a few times, but he's not really up for. I don't think he's massively even though he's got a great Twitch channel. He's not really that confident about being talking. But
I'd say he's getting better at it though. I'd say keep asking. I would love to hear his opinion as well. But I'd say he's just such a nice guy. So I think he loves every game in where he could. I don't think he can. I know he dislikes some games that I also dislike. I could have put Popeye on this list because I absolutely hate it, and I know he's not a fan either. And Donkey Kong Jr. and whatnot, but I don't think he doesn't really feel hate for them. So I think that would be the problem, I guess. Yeah. Or it's harder to just pick three because my last pick is a game I kind of loves to hate and bash on because many people like this game and I don't get why. I was going to pick Dragon's Lair actually, but I didn't because I realized Dragon's Lair is not even a game. That's just an interactive cartoon, is it?
You'll not be surprised to know that's appeared on quite a few lists, a few podcasts.
Yeah, and I assume that's on the nasty lists because it's and I feel like every version of Dragon's Lair was as bad because I have a friend, he got it for Christmas for the NES. I mean, it probably took until next Christmas before he even entered the castle, I guess. It's just fucking absolutely horrible. But yeah, my last pick is going to be Paperboy. And it's going to be specifically the arcade game Paperboy because that game is absolutely horrible. I could have picked other Atari games. I'm not a big fan of Atari games. They're super classics, but they're not really good games, I think. And for Paperboy that came on Atari System 2, same system as the skateboard game 720 and Championship
ATV.
Sprint, which is Championship Sprint is all right.
Cybots.
Was Cybots a System 2 game?
Tubin as well.
Yeah. It's all these mid-res games like 25 kilohertz monitors and stuff. But I hadn't played it up until a couple of years ago. Some friends have an private arcade in Gothenburg, and that was they had a Paperboy, and we were going to have a competition. And Paperboy was one of the games. So that was the first time I was going to play it, and I just couldn't control the jank with that loose fucking handlebars and stuff. And I remember I played it quite a bit on the NES back in the days because a friend had it, and wouldn't say that it's a good game, but it's 100 times better than the arcade original. And I just couldn't get. I'm not super good at games, but I'm not the worst player either. So, but with Paperboy, I think I got 700 something points, which is you probably get more by just adding a credit and not touching the game. And then you had 1 credit, so you could replay one of the games in the competition to try to get a better score. But if you got a worse score, that score would stick for the competition. So I said 700. I think I played for 20 seconds. So I said, yeah, I'm going to put my extra credit here in Paperboy to get at least 1,000 points. And I ended up getting 500 instead. And I said, I just absolutely hate it. Beautiful cabinet though, and it's a nice collector's piece, but it's not for me. I walk past it now every time, and I just shake my head when I see someone play it. They got tons of good games there, so there's absolutely no reason to play Paperboy.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I mean, I don't think I've ever played I've never played an arcade cabinet. I've obviously played it in MAME, whatever. I think it's one of these games you do need, a bit like Star Wars, you need the proper controller, the old controller, whatever. But to me, it was more about look at the fancy graphics and apps. I mean, if you were to actually change, if you were to remove all the graphics in Paperboy, all you would have is two straight lines going up the screen, and you're moving up, and then occasionally you'd get a little block coming, and you just move to the side, and then you'd press fire to like shoot something to the left. It's such a very, 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 very basic game with very.
It's not even going straight. It's going at an angle, you know. So you can't really position yourself. And I hate these isometric games like Saxon and all them because I never know where I'm at on the screen. So
it's almost, see if you were to take Carnival, the game Carnival, and you were to rotate it 90 degrees anti-clockwise, that's almost Paperboy. Instead of moving along the way in Carnival, you're moving up and down, and you're shooting newspapers into letterboxes. So it's a beautiful looking game. The graphics look really, really nice, but it's not a game. I agree with you. I don't think it's a
Carnival. It's a great game though.
What's that?
Carnival is a great game.
Sorry. Absolutely.
I'd say
Carnival's a good game.
They did it right, so to say. But I'd say Paperboy would probably play better in MAME because get rid of that handlebar thingy.
Possibly, possibly.
But I have no reason to try it, but I think that could actually play better in MAME. I think.
Yeah.
But I know some of my friends have it as maybe not their favorite game, but it's up there with their favorite games. But I don't know. It's probably something with experience. I'd say it's a bit like kids. You're attracted to this uniqueness with the controls and all. Because when I had this basement full of arcade machines, there was one cabinet that stuck out because it was pole position. You got a steering wheel on it. And everybody wanted to play that, especially when kids came in. Because it's different. And I say that's the main attraction for Paperboy. And that's the same for Star Wars and 720. They were playing around with weird controllers, and I'd say joystick and buttons all day long for me.
And then you've got things like APB. I don't even know what the arcade controls for APB are anyway. Is it?
I have never played it. That's quite rare cabinets. I haven't really seen anyone that has it. I'm kind of familiar with the game, but I obviously never played it. But that's not the one with a ridiculous amount of controllers, is it?
I don't know. It's weird. I mean, you control the car, but then you've also got this crosshair, which is like the siren or something, and you've got to do. It's a really, really weird kind of game.
No, I'm thinking of. I think of Spy Hunter. That's one of.
Yeah. Spy Hunter's all right. But
that's the same with Defender that you mentioned earlier. It's just got 3 buttons too many, I think.
Defender.
I can't stand that game. I had a dedicated here for a while.
Yeah.
But it didn't stay long because I can't. It's just, and you might as well give me a PlayStation 5 controller and like, all right, which button to do what with here? It's just too much.
You stick with your Rain Violins, I'll stick with Defender if that's all right. But I'm totally with you in Paperboy. The phrase that I use for a game like Paperboy is fur coat and no knickers. In other words, it's all about the graphics. Yeah. Give me Berserk any day of the week or Space Invaders. I'd much rather play any of these games than bloody Paperboy. So anyway, 3 good choices: Roblox, Athena, and Paperboy. And I've just realised it's now 8:45. I've probably ran out of time. I'm probably not going to bother doing a live stream because I can't be arsed.
It's my fault.
It's firmly your fault. It's firmly your fault.
I can own that.
Anyway, listen, man, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Don't be a stranger. It's good to see you. I know you do drop into the streams quite a bit as well, which is great. But I love talking to like-minded people like myself that just enjoy video games, and it's great to see the kind of the passion in that as well. So I will bid you good night. So listen, folks, thank you very much for listening. And again, thanks very much, man. Take it easy.
Yeah, take it easy.